Good morning. How you all doing this morning? Was breakfast okay? I want to give compliments to the chef, Mr. J. Paul. One of the members here, I feel like good to see the head out of the corner. It's funny, we were just sitting over there talking about it. As we're in our second year of operating this market, we were just sitting there talking about watching his growth and how he's grown. He always could cook, but there are a lot of backroom things that we've seen him grow into. So we want to really give him compliments this morning as we talk about the New Black Wall Street Market, the New Black Wall Street International Village, and ultimately how we impact as citizens of Stonecrest, how we move our city forward at this town hall meeting. So whenever we have guests here, we always want to introduce you, because the most important part of this development is what we do with the 100+ small African American and minority and women-owned businesses that are here. So we always want to introduce you to the entrepreneurs and the companies that are here, give them just a brief moment to tell you a little bit about their company. So in this setting and with this group, one of the people that I felt was one of the most appropriate members to bring before you is somebody that was living in Baltimore, Maryland. And when this market came about, they chose to relocate their whole life to Stonecrest, Georgia for this opportunity, right? So I would like to give it up to the Aeromex City. If you could, Juan, you gonna come forward? So the other white people is with me. I don't got to do it as a team. I can tell the body like she's supposed to come with me. So you all come forward and tell folks who you are. Tell us a little bit about why you chose Stonecrest.
How y'all doing? My name is Stonecrest. This is my wife. So y'all see her in the phone.
Get a phone. She
needs to school being delivered, so she's not in the room. We're a romance here. We're a Roman therapy company located on Bourbon Street across from the Jazz Club. We have great fragrances for your home, car, and business. We relocated here from Maryland, as Matt said, to be a part of the New Black Wall Street Market strictly. I mean, we didn't move here for Atlanta. We moved here to make history at the New Black Wall Street Market. We actually lived across the street from the mall. And we decided to bring our business and our dreams 9 hours away to be here and to be a part of history. And we love it here. We love the Stonecrest community. The best part of being here is the people. The people is the best part. We have met people from all over Georgia, of course, Stonecrest and surrounding counties, Atlanta, Metro Atlanta. And all over the nation. This has given us an opportunity to spread our business all over, because it's been a tourist attraction as well. People come here and they shop with us online from all over. I also would like to thank Mr. Allen and his staff for giving us an opportunity to create this space for us. This is a tourist attraction, but the community is the lifeline of this market. And we want to say thank you for those that support the market. Being honest, it's a lot of businesses in here that are struggling, so we need continued support. We need more support. I want to say this. I remember last year during Black History Month, I was in a Facebook group called Stonecrest Weekly, and I posted a picture of me and Mr. Allen honoring him for Black history, because I felt like his brother needed to be acknowledged. I didn't like the response. When I posted that picture, people came on it under those comments like Ron was on blood. And I didn't like the way that they were attacking Mr. Allen. I didn't like the way that they was defending his place. The way they was talking about the Black Wall Street Market. And I felt offended, because I felt me and my wife have moved away from Negroes. That's part of the reason that we came here. We was escaping that. But I understand, our people, we still got some work to do. But I also know that 20 people on a Facebook post don't reflect the entire community. So I want, we want to build a relationship with the community. That's important. Not just us, the entire market, the entire staff. We want to, build a relationship. We want to we know that relationships is more important than money. So we want to continue to build relationships. We want to continue to support the community, and we need support from the community. And with that said, I'd like to say thank y'all once again. We appreciate, we love it here. We love the people, everybody is so, good to us. And we appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You want to say anything? Okay. I'm recording for you. Tell me you want to get recorded. I got it for you, okay? Also, one of the things before we move forward in our program, we're really excited too because a lot of what we want to hear from you all on deals with the planning and development of Stonecrest. So we're super excited. I want to give him just a moment to also come before you to have the director of our planning commission for the city of Stonecrest, Mr. Eric Cover. So Eric, if you would just tell us a little bit about your role as the planning director of the planning commission, as the director of the planning commission for Stonecrest.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
It is great to be here among you all in the community at the new Black Wall Street. Dr. Allen, Matt, Mr. Hall. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do as on the planning commission. Actually, I'm the chair of the planning commission that represents you all in Stonecrest. But we have to decide what businesses, what zoning a person can have, based on you all coming before us with your applications. And then our recommendation goes to the city council for approval or denial. Now, we need to hear from you all. And I'm just going to be very straight with you all because there are another 12-year-olds here, you all are adults. If you want to see the city move and progress and grow, if you want to be prosperous, you have to be involved. Now, when Stonecrest came about many years ago, I was on the Stonecrest Alliance back in 2015. We said, hey, we want to come to the city. And we got together with people to say how we want to develop this area. Now, for full disclosure, I was part of the Cobb County Commission back in 2000 to 2005. I worked for Commissioner Hank Johnson. And my day job is I'm the director for Congressman Hank Johnson. So I've been with him for 24 years. So this area was ultimately developed south of Cobb County. But we weren't getting the developments we needed or wanted. So a group of people got together and said, we have an alliance. We're going to turn this alliance into a vote to see if we can get a municipality in the city, which passed, with 60% of the vote. So we wanted to bring in businesses. We wanted to see more of a friendly but prosperous organization dynamic, like the Allen Institute, in which Mr. Allen has done a lot in this area with not only do Black Wall Street, but other things, ventures he has part of, but we've also had places like Sam's Club, which has left, but they did bring in economic development. We had the Georgia Pacific, which on the other side of it, like on the right, all those businesses to help build up this area. And we have 3 industrial parks, Snapper Industrial Park, Nolan Industrial Park, and Lackawanna Industrial Park, to bring in heavy manufacturing jobs. If you want to see like the Home Depot, Toyota, well, we have designations for that. But around the mall and these businesses that we need to bring in, they go before the planning commission to get zoning or special land use permits so they can move forward. But here's the problem. When you all don't show up, and you have the 40% of people who voted against the city that comes to every meeting that we have to voice their concerns or their disgruntlements, then those commissioners or the city council members, they listen and take into account what can we do, what can we not do. So sometimes you have people with a long horn that's talking, and it may rattle the cage of a few of those members, and you don't see the development that we need. So we need more people coming out so that we can say, yes, we want to approve this business, X, Y, and Z. We want to move forward with this zoning in order to make sure things happen. And I know some people who have been here saying, I like nice and quiet. Well, that's good. and everyone has a right to voice their opinion. But I'm gonna tell you, being in government for like 25 years, if you want to see the city grow, you gotta have a budget. This city, let's not get it twisted, only has 3 services: planning and zoning, parks and rec, code enforcement. That's all. Your water and sewer, that's still in DeKalb County. Your law enforcement, your police force, that's still DeKalb County. Your sanitation is still DeKalb County. So we have to make sure that people know what our roles are and how we can go ahead and play into our role. And the only way we can grow the city, and I'm asking you all, be involved in some of these meetings, voice your opinions. And I'm not going to belabor the time, because I know we got a great program going with the town hall. But my job is to make sure that you get what you want. I'm glad to make sure that you get what you want, is that you have to tell us what it is that you want. You have to let us know who you support, who you don't support. Maybe that the reason why I want to see a new Nike factory in Stonecrest is because of X, Y, Z, the jobs that's going to be brought about, economic development, and also the opportunities. We want to see that in the city. That's why we want to use power in that. And if you don't do that, the naysayers will say you want to unincorporate the city. So they're going to do everything in its power to bring that house. The house is like in that city. And we want Stonecrest to stay strong. We want to make sure that our businesses get the support that they need. And I'm getting the thing saying we need.
No, you fine. We were talking about something else.
Okay. All right. But you need to contact us. Now, my day job, like I told you, is I'm the director for Congressman Hank Johnson. I want you to contact me because that's your federal representative to handle your federal issues. Meaning that Social Security, Veterans Affairs, Department of Justice, your grants, your appropriation documents, contact our office. Okay? 770-987-2291 is our number. Or better yet, if you go to hankjohnson.house.gov, you'll see everything on the website. But 770-987-2291. That's our number. Your passport issues. You got issues right now, you need a passport. You want to go to the Dominican Republic in 3 weeks, if you don't have it, you need to contact our office. So those are the little things we do for you. And also, if you have kids, we have scholarship applications available for the CDC right now online at Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, in which your kids need scholarships, appropriation dollars for nonprofits. With our website, you'll see appropriation requests. But I think Monday is the deadline. You have already seen that. We try to make sure that you're getting some of your taxpayer dollars back, and make sure you get what you need. Okay? Yes, ma'am. HankJohnson.house.gov. And you can go to our website and see everything that I spoke about: services, appropriation requests, on federal. Yes, ma'am. Well, no, it's just for the federal services with our office. My day job is to Hank Johnson. Because I live in this community and I volunteer to be on the commission board, that's local for the 3 services. But you need more than those 3 services to keep it going. But any other federal issue you may have, contact our office. Or even if you have an issue that's not federal, maybe on the state level, we can put you in the right direction. So, we'll get service to you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. HankJohnson.house.gov. G-O-V. Yes, sir. You know Hank is when you're prepping, so.
Yes, I know. He did the right thing.
He did. I'm not exactly right. He did exactly.
All right, let's just roll quick. Let's go. Now I'm doing it.
All right.
All right, thank you. We do appreciate you so much for coming up. I'm really glad you're here, and I think it's very appropriate for you to start this conversation as we talk about how we want to move our city forward.
Yes,
So thank you so much, brother. All right. The last time we did this, we had an opportunity to kind of tell you all a lot about what we were doing, but we didn't get have enough time to hear from you. So our real objective today is to hear from you, but I did want to quickly breeze through some of the slides that we shared in our last conversation, because I think it helps you to really understand what Stonecrest is kind of by the numbers. We have a city that's a population of 60,000. We have a really high average household income. Our average owner-occupied housing value is almost $250,000. 74% of the citizens in Stonecrest have white-collar jobs, and the average citizen here is 31.2 years old. So that means we're young, we're professional, we're an economic force individually. And so when you look at our numbers, we have really great numbers, and we have so much potential here in Stonecrest. So maybe we can avoid some of that and put it deeper next time. We talked a little bit about Mr. Allen and the investments that he's made for more than 20 years. You know, his investment is not just this building, it's the 200 acres of land around Stonecrest. He invested there to stabilize Stonecrest economically. Also, he's, for the last 22 years, he's been housing and bringing young people from this community and communities all over the country to here to be exposed to entrepreneurship and giving back to this community. So we talked about that for a brief moment. And so we talked about the institute. You can move. I'm going to do these real quick. We talked about the first year at the New Black Wall Street Market. We talked about almost 250,000 people here at the New Black Wall Street Market. We saw 170, like I told you about Jay Paul and his growth and development. When you look around the room, there's so many of our members that have grown and developed from this market and things that we're doing here. We had over 250 activations. So we were throwing probably 5 to 10 parties every single weekend in charge of this community to provide entertainment for this community. And also, we've been featured all over the country positively, not the black folks down there that city screwing it up, but positive features about our advancement as a city. Next slide, Teron. And we've impacted tourism, and tourism is huge in Georgia. We know that our opportunity to really make Stonecrest a first-tier city, we're 20 minutes from downtown now, about 30, 45 minutes of traffic working with you to the airport. So we know that tourism is one of our greatest opportunities for growth. Correct? And we talked a little bit about the land development. That's what we want to talk about today. One of the things that we have to do as a community to be prepared for this development, we know we got some public safety issues that have to be addressed. We know that there are things and opportunities for us to do things with our young people. We know that there's innovative ways we can approach real estate development. And we also know that there are very bright people sitting here in this audience in our community that can give us key input on some of the key things we've got to do to develop this community. And ultimately, we want to become a model community. We know we want to get the good restaurants in here, but that takes density. That takes a lot of things to push us forward. We know that there's a quality of life experience that we want to have. We should have an amphitheater. We should be able to have cool concerts. You should enjoy living in your city, and we have so much potential to bring that here. And we should be developing small businesses and become the hub and the center of black business development for the country, not internationally. And so these are some of the things that we talked about in the vision. And there's no better person and no better way for us to talk about the vision than to first bring forward our leader and the visionary that created this. This lady I was talking to before said, I just can't believe this was a target. It was. But he has such great vision, and he is a dynamic and awesome leader. And communities all over the world would beg to have somebody that's this willing to invest in their community here. And that's what most people don't understand. Mr. Allen has got very wealthy and a lot of other communities around the country. But he's put investment and giving back to Stonecrest for over 22 years. So if you all would with me, put your hands together and let's bring forward our founder and the visionary, Mr. Bill Allen.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Ron, if you could go back to the very first slide, right here. The Bible says that our vision, the that I've learned from being brought up in the church and all of that, and as much as a deacon in my church, so I'm very active. The other thing of it is, I'm not a very out front public person. Prior to the new Black Wall Street, most people did not know my name, and I was just as happy with that. Okay? I'm not shy. My wife will tell you that. So it's not because I'm shy. It's just that I enjoy the freedom of spending my time doing what I really wanted to do and not spending my time trying to talk about what I wanted to do. And one of the things within our community that I'd like to change is that we stop spending so much time explaining what our problems are and applauding one another about the problems. As I said, being birthed by the church, there was a song that said, right in the corner where you are. Actually, when I was a kid, I thought it said, right in the corner where you are. But later on, I discovered it said, what it means is, if you start cleaning up around your house and doing what you're supposed to do, you will inspire someone else. You know, the Optimist Creed, which is one of my favorite creeds, says, promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. To talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet. To look on the sunny side of life, to forget the mistakes of the past. To be too large for word, too noble for anger, and too strong to forget the presence of trouble. Now, those are lofty goals. But those are goals that I have practiced. So when you tell me that, I guess on social media, this and that, the other, I guess I need to be upset, but since I don't do social media, I don't even know. Well, let me say this to you. There are so many things that I have learned over my almost 50 years of being in business. You know, I've dealt with all kinds of people, white people, black people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to tell you something. Envy and jealousy is stronger than racism. Now let me say that again. Envy and jealousy is stronger than racism. And unfortunately, sometimes some of the very people, those of you who are biblical scholars, if you have some interesting reading, start with the first chapter of Nehemiah. When he was doing very, very well in the king's palace. He was a cupbearer. But when he heard and was told that the walls of Jerusalem were broken down, he felt a calling and a passion to build up those walls. And when I look at the fact that, you know, my wife and I have been very blessed to own businesses in 7 states, real estate, 22 cities around the United States, multiple personal homes, and we were scheduled to retire in Florida. I said to myself, and she said to me as well, you have lost your mind to put all of that on hold to try to do something. But to help me understand it, when I read the chapter of Nehemiah, there is a need for us as Black people to understand the next phase of our growth and development is ownership within this wealthiest country in the United States. We have a right. We have a responsibility to own more things within our own community.
Amen.
I really feel we do. But we also have a lack of understanding of economic development and how money works. Actually, what inspired me to start this process, and I'm going to talk about this building, the opportunity came to purchase the rest of the land that was left over from the development of the mall, which is approximately 330 acres, of which about 200 are buildable. And being the businessman that I was, I saw an opportunity. Well, just like most people, I'm gonna make a little more money. I'm gonna buy this land and I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna buy it for less, and buy low, sell high. And this was in 2018, late. And while I was in the due diligence, doing my research as to whether or not the land was properly zoned and all of the different aspects, I saw a documentary on television about Tulsa. What had happened in 1921. And like most people, we're impacted by what we see, what we hear. I was impacted. I was mad. I was angry about what those folk, quote, did to us. You follow me? And I felt several different emotions, and it finally got to somebody ought to do something. And this is what we often say in our community, somebody. Well, what we have to realize is that we are somebody. I am somebody. And that is what prompted me to decide, why don't I put my time and energy rather in retirement, but to build a new Black Wall Street. And what better place to build it was here in the city of Stonecrest, where we had been operating our institute very quietly. I know many of you, most of you probably have never been there. And there is a reason and rationale for that. That institute was designed to bring in business students from historical Black colleges, of which more than 35, 40 historical Black colleges. If any of you went to any of them, we probably had them at the institute there. Starting with the typical ones here in Atlanta, Clark Atlanta, Spelman, Morehouse, but more importantly, Alabama State, Albany State, Savannah State, Tuskegee, Tennessee State, Bellevue, I could go on and on. And they came to this institute sponsored by my wife and I to study entrepreneurism without any cost. So that's why we weren't necessarily invited unless you were a student during the last 20 years that you were selected to come. But we've been actively doing that. So now let me get to the situation at hand. We have heard in several unorganized fashion what people want here in Stonecrest. And what you want is nothing different than you want the best for yourselves. You want the same type of restaurants that would be in Buckhead, the same type of field that would be in Alpharetta. You want the best. And guess what? I think we deserve the best. And so when I put together to present to the Developmental Authority of Stonecrest what the vision would look like, we started off building a village. And we were working with the previous administration at the city trying to figure out how to get something off the ground by 2021. Now think about 2021, what was happening. We were in the middle of what? Oh my God, one of the worst pandemics that has happened in the entire world. Well, being the determined person that I am and the strong believer that I am, I said to myself, I'm not even going to let COVID stop me. We had already purchased this building as an investment. It was sitting here, it was vacant. And I made the decision, well, we can't get anything built from the ground up because the whole economy in a lot of ways has stopped. There ought to be something I can do. And I'm telling you this story because I'm saying to you as a people, there's always something that you can do. You may not be able to do what you originally planned. And so it was, I decided that, why don't I build a model and a prototype? But prior to that time, to give you the history of this, some of the members of a few of them are still on the city council, the previous mayor and a few other people, I took them to see the vision. We took a trip out to Avalon. How many of you have ever seen Avalon? Raise your hand. How many of you would agree that that is a wonderful development? Absolutely. So I started at the very best. And we went out, I said, now this is what I'd like the village of Stonecrest to look like. But again, as I said, that was prior to COVID. So we came back, we decided we would start in here and build a smaller model of what the future we hope to look like. Guess what? I came in here one day and we were ready to get started and the lights wouldn't come on. I'm a pretty hard task, my staff will tell you. I'm not even.
Amen, hallelujah.
Who did not pay the light bill? You are in trouble with me. Okay? Y'all don't let my lights get turned on? People, I want to tell you something. It wasn't a light bill. Someone came into this building and took out all the major electrical. A huge amount of money. I said, I'm not going to let that stop. And I tell you again, some days I wanted to quit. But when I kept reading about Nehemiah deciding to build up those walls, he wasn't going to let nothing, and none of the Sanballat people who were supposed to be with him turn it back and turn around. And so I kept marching. I sucked it up, didn't even, well, I tried to turn it into the insurance company. They said, oh no, we're not gonna pay you. You know how it works, you pay your insurance, you get ready to claim, and they're saying, well, that building was vacant. You knew it was vacant when you insured. So I'm gonna tell you people, over $200,000 worth of damage. So what did we do? We went and got us some generators, gasoline generators, and started moving about this building. And the net result, when you walk through here, is sheer determination and a willing to sacrifice and not let anything or anybody turn you around. So let's talk about this. I hope when you all look at this, if there's one thing you can see, it's quality. We're not proposing to put forth any, quote, junk. Think only of the best, expect only the best as part of the Optimist Creed. So we started off with a very impressive design. Now that was all through public. And there's some things may change. But so that you will know what you're looking at. Avalon, as a 14 story hotel. This one is almost an exact duplicate, except I decided that I would sell some of the places that I'm living here and there, and I would use the top floor as a penthouse. So I can't get a chance to live in that penthouse unless I build that building. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Because it's way beyond my need. That's just only a part of this. But this was we don't have in all of South DeKalb a first-class hotel. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Is that something that you think we deserve and we would want to have? I do.
Yeah.
Give it a round of applause if you think we deserve. If you don't, I understand. Okay? But there are some things that has to happen for that hotel to get here. Among them, you're going to potentially hear the word density. Density. Interestingly enough, they created density in Avalon with housing and with apartments. The hotel was one of the last things that they built. They built up the community around. There's another thing. At the last meeting that we held for the community, someone stood up and said, we don't have a place in DeKalb and South DeKalb where we can gather 500 people for a nice event, and that is correct. There is no convention center in all of DeKalb County, and to me that's totally ridiculous.
Amen.
I say that there's no better place to put it than in the city of Stonecrest, right along I-20. So that you people will understand the partnership between public and private. The city of Alpharetta basically gave the money in order for that hotel to come there and to support those rooms that don't stand alone, a convention center. This low-rise car here is designed to be a convention center. And when you have a convention center, you have visitors coming, and we looked at the research. Black people spend in the United States, I think it was something like at that time, 200, you can look up on your phone, everybody can check all this stuff now. $200 and something million per year going to conventions. And to my knowledge, I would love to be corrected, not a single major convention center in the whole United States is owned by black people. Don't you think that's a little bit ridiculous?
Yeah.
I think we have an opportunity to change that. And so, if the city of Alpharetta can fund this convention center, because convention centers by themselves lose money. But they make money because they generate hotel taxes, they generate so many other things around them. And I'm telling you this so that you'll have a better understanding that there are certain things you must do to get the things that you want. So this was the concept here. Can we go to another slide? I wasn't counting the slides, but let's go to another one. Keep going, can we? No, not. Keep going. Yes. I want to talk about this. One of the things I keep hearing people here in Stonecrest who don't understand how all these things work together, because when the mayor was over here, I believe just yesterday, or Saturday, no, I think, what day was
Thursday.
Thursday, Commissioner Cochran, along with Mayor Jackson, she was saying that people say, well, I came out here for peace and quiet and this and that and the other, and they want these 2 acres of land and what have you. That's good and well, but they also want to be able to go to the restaurants. You know, we want the papados, we want the cheesecake factory, we want all of those. Well, let me explain something to you. It's like kids at Christmas, want a car, a new car. It doesn't work that way, people. You may go to those restaurants maybe once every 2 weeks, or on your mother's birthday, your sister's birthday, your dad's birthday. Who won't support those restaurants? You have to have the type of structures within the community where people go to them at least once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Let me tell you who those people are. Did you notice that the median age here in Stonecrest is 31 years old? Young folk, young and foolish go together. They spend their money. They are bored at night. They're going to want to go out and mingle and get to know one another. And if they're sacrificed to go to college and they're college educated, they're going to want some nice places to go. And they're going to go out there at least once a week, and many of them twice a week. And you build certain types of things that are going to be there. Now, they don't want the sprawling lawns that you have. That's why you have in Midtown the old raggedy apartments. Those people are paying $1,900 a month, some of them for 1 bedroom. And some of them are paying as much as $2,200, $2,500 for 1 bedroom. So, when we talk about apartments, don't get excited. All right. They're about to get in trouble. These are apartment units, and below are businesses on the first floor. They want to walk down from their apartments, go to the cleaners, go to the little small knick-knack stores, the winery shops, and things of that nature. Okay? But they're going to be paying, and how we hope to attract them, we're hoping that we can build and construct those and attract young college graduates who maybe 5 years from now are going to be married. And so in the village, in addition to that, we're developing a school all the way from preschool to like 8th grade. Because one of the problems of living in DeKalb, especially this South DeKalb, is that these people look on the internet. My daughter checks the internet almost before she breathes every morning. Every day they check the internet on everything. And when they look at the ratings of the school system, we have to build an entire village, which I don't think we have that plan on there. But I developed schools all the way from preschool to post-secondary all across this country, and the real estate for them. And so part of the thing is to we're not trying to replace the school system, but we need something to entice these young people, even if they have a preschooler where they can walk their child to the preschool. I hope you're getting the picture.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So this is not the type of apartments where people are just hanging out and a whole bunch of wildness going on. This is the same look, and these are the people that will support all the businesses. Let's go to another one of the slides. I want to show the other part of this development. Try to get to the one that shows the soccer field. Yes. Now, what this is, it's an entertainment district. It is contained. So what we're talking about developing, especially in the overlay district, and the overlay district includes the mall, all the stores, all the land that surrounds that is separate. And it will not be interfering with those of you who live a mile or so away and you have 2 acres of land, because the freeway is on one side of them and there are car dealerships to buffer you. But this is a multi-purpose field. We're calling it where you can have soccer, you can have baseball. These stands, and by the way, this is backing up to I-20. So all the noise and thing, again, we wanted you, before you discuss what you want to know, what is being planned. Now, we're not there yet. This entertainment building, unlike many of us of my generation, and even the next generation below me, they don't want to go to bed at 10 o'clock. They need some place to go, and these are various restaurants, small clubs, bars. There may even be, I guess one of the latest things that young people like, is this beer. What kind of beer is it called? Craft beer, brewery, all that kind of stuff. What I'm trying to say is, for your young sons, daughters, nieces, and nephews, we want to create a community where they can live in a community unto themselves. And perhaps we even have a plan, but I'm not going to go that far. For those of you who finally decide that you're tired of mowing those or paying to have the upkeep on your 2 acres of land or your acre of land, that you can then move into townhomes, individual homes, and things that you can get out and you can walk to the stores. You don't have to drive or any of that. So the whole community, oh, yes, let's talk about this one. Oh, I didn't know that you all had this. Now, you've heard about many tiny homes. Now, I am not a tiny home person, okay? I couldn't imagine living in a space from this wall to this corner. I'm a big house type person. For these young people, that's not what they want. So rather than build them looking like little old cottages, now I'm not into modern design, but when I saw this design, and by the way, these are being built just south of the airport. And interestingly enough, I just got a text this morning. The person who was responsible for selling me the land, which is not a black person, has invested with a group of young black builders to build these. And he wants us to meet them. Now, let me say this. Even though it's not my taste, and it's certainly not my space, I don't think And the way they're showing them is a little misleading. They're not gonna have that much land around, okay? So I don't know where they got this picture, but it is correct in the sense that these are the people who then move from those apartments and they buy a tiny home. Now let me tell you, these things are not cheap, but it's what they want. I believe that the ones that they're selling south of the airport start at about $260,000 and go up to about $360,000. The same that you want for like your 3,000 square foot house or your 2,200 square foot house. But they don't want what you want. But if you want these young lawyers, these young doctors, these young accountants and professional people to be a part of your community and to remain here, you have to have the vision of respecting them as young people, because you were not always at your age that you are now.
Amen.
Okay? So that is a concept of what we're doing. Go back. I think we've pretty much covered. But what I wanted to do, to say to you, we are not there yet, but we're getting closer and closer. We have to put together all the funding that is going to be required to build this $1 billion. And it's going to be higher than that now that we've had COVID and things are on an inflated level. So I just wanted to share that information with you as you go into your various discussions, and so that you can help support these concepts with your city council people, with your city planning people, and talk about what is there, and talk about how it will impact you negatively or positively. I will include that. I'm done. The biggest investment that most black people have, and that's true here in Stonecrest, is their homes. Someone is giving you false information if you think that building these tiny homes, not next to your house now, but down the road where they are clustered, if you think having high-end apartment, if you think that having the Papa Do's, all these restaurants will decrease the value of your home, you have no economic understanding of how money works.
Amen.
And I'm just flat out like telling you, you need to be re-educated and understand that you will make money. And even though you may have to, and will have to, there's no free lunch, make some sacrifice in order to help build that convention center. Don't think of it as a giveaway. If it costs you $300 a year, in less than 2 years, you will have made on an average $50,000 to $60,000 in the value of your home. Now that's an investment, people.
Amen.
It's not a giveaway. And as time goes past, you will see your home values, because of where you are strategically located, close to the airport, close to downtown Atlanta, the busiest airport in the world. People will want your property, and when you put your property on the market to sell, you will make more money, the same as they will make in Alpharetta. The dirt in Buckhead is not any better dirt than in Stonecrest.
Amen.
It's where people want to be. And by creating all these amenities around you, you don't lose value, you gain value. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. So now we have the opportunity to want to hear directly from you. There's one microphone here where you can line up to ask questions or make comments. And then also we have Orethia Flowers in the rear of the room with the mic, and she'll be floating around the rear of the room if you'd like to get her attention and have her bring the microphone to you all. Okay?
Okay, the front row is gonna have to walk to that mic to the front. I'm in the back.
All right.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to ask real quick, for you to explain a little bit about how what density means and how that affects the development of the community as you spelled it out.
I'm sorry, say that.
Wanted to understand the density and how that goes into the planning and how that affects us being able to build and develop the community, as you stated.
Okay. There are approximately 60,000 people within, I believe the mayor said on Thursday, there's 38,000 square miles or something like that. If you go into a Midtown or a Buckhead area, there are 60,000 people within less than a mile of each other. That is the type of density that is required for the Sprouts grocery stores. One of the other things that people want is they want another choice of grocery store other than Walmart. Well, those stores require a certain type of density of people within a certain area. Now, for my vision of the land that we own is that within that short distance of between Turner Hill and all the way down to Evansville Road, because we own the land on both sides of Mall Parkway there, all the way to the freeway, eventually you will have a density of about 2,500 people. I am not talking about necessarily creating density if you live in Sandstone Estates or any place out there. It's not going to really impact you. The beauty of this density, when the mall was built, the road infrastructure was put in for that land to be developed. So that's one of the things I disagree. That's not a problem of developing this land because that infrastructure was put in over 25 years ago. But that means that the people who live in the Sandstone Estates or the other less estates, you only have to drive maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes as opposed to 25 minutes to Midtown or to Buckhead and then pay for parking, by the way, in order to go to these restaurants. So when you hear the word density, nobody's talking about coming into your neighborhood and building a tiny house next door to it or building apartments. But for all the entire overlay district, that's the density that we need so that it becomes an area of but also you will have a tourist attraction. I'm gonna tell you something, we don't know the total research, but I say that more than 50% of the people who come to the new Black Wall Street market don't even live anywhere near the community. It has become, in less than 1 year, a tourist attraction, and eventually it will become a national and totally international tourist attraction. So right after Martin Luther King, they're coming to the new Black Wall Street market.
and to see this international village. So you're going to help defray your cost with that density through visitors from all around the world. Any other questions?
Yes, Michelle, yeah.
Okay, don't be afraid to hold it and
Oh,
talk.
God, it's on mic, it's on mic.
Talk directly to the mic so we can hear you.
Okay, interesting, I'm a resident of, I am a resident of Sexton Estates. And one of the reasons why my husband and I moved here. Okay,
There you go.
one of the reasons why we purchased a home, we have a home already sold out of the state, but we intentionally moved to Sexton Estates because of the development of Stonecrest. I think initially it was going to put a sports complex over here, and for whatever reason, because of the pandemic or whatever, but that was something that was very attractive to us. My question is, because I'm really afraid that this development happens. I'm a proponent of it, I want it to happen, and I'm a very avid supporter of it. We have a law firm, but we're located in the village of Stone Mountain. And we would like to move it here, so my question is there any development for office space in your plan?
Very good question. The first thing you talked about, even though you didn't ask about that, I know the last thing you want to know about office space. Yes, there was supposed to be a soccer development and all of that was pre-announced, and people were pretty disappointed when that did not happen. It takes a lot of planning, and you first of all cast the vision. Then you have to get the projects financed. And that's the part that people in our community, you know, economically, where children are with Santa Claus at Christmas. You hang the stockings and all you know is they got filled. Well, it takes some effort to fill those stockings. There are certain requirements. Pre-COVID, we had an office building. If you could go back, are you back over?
Oh, let me get it back. We get it back over.
All right, we need to, if we're running the screen here, we need to have somebody over there at all times. Listen, bring up the view where there's an office building in the background. Pre-COVID, we had planned about a 6-story office building. Well, one of the things that COVID has changed the whole world is people are not going back to offices in the same way, and so the demand for office space is not as great. So what has to happen, see the tall building in the background there? That was scheduled for an office building. I can tell you right now, that one is scrapped, we scrapped it. The only way, what we have to do in order to get this project to work, one of the biggest leases or lessors of office space is the federal government and GSA. If we can get a federal or state office, and that would not only help you, I know this is not what you asked, it would help support all those little businesses. It would help them support going to those restaurants that you're gonna go to once a month. They're gonna leave their office building and go to the Papa Do's every day to keep them open on that Wednesday and Thursday, and the Monday and Tuesday. So, to answer your question is, yes, we do plan to revisit the idea of office space. But, to answer your question, some of those spaces on the first floor could also be utilized I think you said for your law, for your business and law firm, okay? Now, we don't have pictures of them, but along Mall Parkway, let me tell you what else we're planning on building. This is called a live-work area. They rent the apartments above, we also rent the stores below. But there's a version along Mall Parkway all the way where they're like townhomes, but you own them and you own the first floor, your own store on the first floor, and you live above it in your complex on the second and third floor. Have any of you all been down to, I believe they have some of those in the Midtown area in Atlantic Station area. Okay? So that's part of it. Next question. Yes, sir.
Good morning, and thank you, sir. I am George Foster, and I am late to the party of the city of Stonecrest.
That's okay. You're here now.
I live in Stone Mountain now, but I used to live in Stonecrest for years. I fell in love with Stonecrest and South DeKalb right last year. In March of 2022 was the first time I visited this place, and I fell in love with it. I come to it back and forth, and then driving for DoorDash and Uber Eats to the community. I fell in love with Stonecrest and South DeKalb. And on the night of my birthday, I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I went out and I burned over 2 boxes of legal work that I had been putting together in order to eliminate the city of Stonecrest. Because initially I did not believe in it. But as from coming to this, your creation, over and over again, I fell in love with it. And your presentation hit a bunch of the little pipe dreams I've had on how I would develop Stonecrest. But instead of a sport complex, I would do a 40,000 dome stadium that, our football teams who have to go all the way to Memorial Drive and get none of the revenue can gain revenue. We can bring people into the city, but it also, by being a dome stadium, it can serve also as.
May I address that? You have to be careful sometimes of getting ahead of yourself. When you bring in, at any given time, 10, 12,000 people, then you create an infrastructure problem, which the mayor was talking about the other day, so that has to be planned for in a different way. But the type of things that we're talking about doing here, see, when people are coming to a game or something, they all come at one time. You see what I'm saying? When people are coming here to go to the stores, it's just a regular flow of traffic. So I love the idea. I appreciate your tearing up that idea to destroy the city of Stonecrest. I hope a lot of other people will get the hint and tear up their plans to try to destroy this city. This baby is born and this baby is growing. That's murder, people. Y'all can't murder her. Okay, next question.
I just got a question about, is there any plans for this vision to be powered by renewable energy, whether that's sun, wind, water, something like solar?
Interesting question. Well, there are certain, when I look at all the complexity of financing how to do this, I've had so many people contact me almost every day with ideas and things of how to do this, and some of it is very interesting. And to answer your question, there was a group out of New York where the federal government has certain incentives of monies to do things if you're meeting certain environmental savings that will to help you do this. But what you have to do is you have to weigh, there's no free lunch. So what I'm trying to say is they don't just give you this money. There are a lot of things that you may have to do that may inhibit your doing some of the other things that you would like to do. So yes, that's something we could consider, but it's not on my top priority list to make that a top priority. But we will naturally build where the utilities are as less as we could possibly make them. Yes, next question is over here.
Let me take this one and I'll move over there. 1 second.
Good morning. This is more like a comment. I don't have a question. My name is Junati July, and this is my partner, Shamoy Allen. We've been a part of the Stonecrest community. We grew up here. We went to school on this side of town. We love what you're doing. We have a health business and nutrition business. So we help people get on nutrition plans and just eat healthier and work on body goals. We serve a lot of, I'm sorry, I'm kind of nervous. We serve a lot of people in the diabetic community as well. When you guys first started during the pandemic, I remember you talking about a sports center health. We were involved in the Zooms, but I know with the pandemic, it wasn't a lot of transitioning going on in that area. So within that time, we've been doing a lot of pop-ups. We have a satellite club, so we do pop-ups at certain schools. We go to certain YMCAs. We have energy tea shots, healthy meal replacements, healthy donuts, and right now do free fit camps in our community. So it's for all health levels and ages, and it's every weekend. So I wanted to come on here because I have a few flyers, and I was just gonna pass it around in the room, and some of our nutrition flyers as well. So right now, we're just working on building a safe space to have for the community. Some of our business partners have already opened up successful nutrition clubs in other areas, like Gwinnett, and Sandy Springs and Roswell. So we don't have one like that here, and we just want, like, a lot of our friends and family, everyone, they travel to those nutrition clubs. So with the satellite club, we have where you can order and we come to you, but we want to build here so we can let people in our community.
Listen, one of the things, my first mission, my only mission is to increase the number and the size of minority and women-owned businesses. One of the problems within our community, and I applaud you for your pop-up and all of that, but you don't build major businesses being pop-ups. That's why, that's where you get started, you know. You got to progress beyond that. And in order to progress beyond that, you have to understand as the backroom stuff of how do you grow a business. I'm just gonna give you a little advice. Since you gave a commercial, I will give you a little advice. When I went into business, they said, get a good lawyer and a good accountant. You need to account for what you popping up and making. Otherwise, you're not gonna ever be able to borrow a dime unless it's from the 3 F's. And the 3 F's are friends, family, and food. But lending institutions are not going to lend you any money unless you become, they're gonna lend money to places that have legitimized themselves. So, glad to hear what you're doing. One of the problems we have here at New Black Wall Street is that we need more businesses that are permanent in location, because we have some of them people come here and they were here, and they are here today and gone tomorrow. You have to have a sustainability. It's okay to have a pop-up, but look beyond having a pop-up in that regard. But I applaud you for what you're doing. We're not going to have a discussion back and forth. Next question.
Yes, so greetings, my name is Edney. I don't have a question, I have an offering. So my business is Black Moses Freedom Festival. It's a heritage, health, and wellness festival, and it is based on the efforts of Harriet Tubman. And what we do with that is we did it first in Beaufort, South Carolina, because Harriet Tubman freed 700 slaves there. But what the main goal of our festival is to educate people. So we talk about housing and real estate and all this stuff like this, but people need classes so that they can learn about those things. We talk about health and wellness. Well, what are those things? So we have workshops and we have trips. So we also are looking to bring our festival to Stonecrest. We spoke with the Stonecrest, city of Stonecrest, as far as bringing the festival here. So we use the foundational history of the area, and because Stonecrest has such a rich, historic Black history, we wanted to exemplify that with talking about the Flat Rock community, the Arabian Mountain community, and just getting the community involved in health and wellness, learning about the land, and economic empowerment through agricultural sustainability and economic sustainability. So we would love to do our festival here in Stonecrest, as well as continue to do our festival in South Carolina. So we're looking to do the festival for Juneteenth in Lithonia, possibly for Black History Month next year in Stonecrest, and it brings a lot of tourism as well. As you guys talk about tourism, people love to come to festivals, and it gives everyone a chance to show their business. So I have cards and flyers, and I'll share them.
You so kind.
Thank you. We definitely are interested in that, and we will get you connected with the people on our team that can assist you in making that happen. Okay? Mr. Harris.
Hey, I'm Dr. Sean G. Harris. Mr. Allen, again, thank you. I appreciate you for being a pioneer in this whole. Thank you for everything you do. Real quick, as business owners, I know everybody's excited about what's happening, and everybody have different creative ideas, but we gotta focus and remember not to put the cart before the horse. Mr. Allen has done tremendous things. So I'm not gonna go up and tell a story. I was just asking a great question. Mr. Allen, many times people will get paralysis analysis. So could you give a call to action as to what everybody as citizens of Stonecrest, what should they do to help the vision as opposed to having such doubt?
Thank you for getting us back on track. You know, Matt wanted to get me out of trouble, but I'm just straightforward. Before I answer that question, back when I was younger and trying to start my business, we had a group in Detroit called the Booker T. Washington Business Association. And people used to get up and preach their way into business. I'm gonna say it again, not teach their way, preach their way. And from the day that I was there for 10 or 15 years, they're still talking about it. Talk won't get it, people. You have to have a strategy. You have to have a plan. Do less talking and more walking. Now, that's my advice to all of you all who want to give commercials. May the work you've done speak for you. If you have done any work, stop speaking and start working. That's my advice to you, okay? Now, as I said, that's one of the things I had to learn, that I need to go to work and brighten the corner where I am. Not talk about brightening, but brighten. What you can do is to let the people in charge of the city at Stonecrest know that you support, if you support it, the development of some of the things that we've talked about, and to not what I call study and research to death. That's what governmental agencies sometimes do. They study something for 10 years. And someone was saying they did some studies, I think, again, this came up on Thursday. They did some studies at the county, and they didn't do anything about it. And now they want to revise it. They got to go back and do another study because that study was out of date. And by the way, you paid for those studies. Some of them $200,000 for experts, so-called experts, to come and tell you what you need to do. Well, I'm going to tell you for free. Okay? Support the concepts. Come out to City Hall, as Brother Eric Hubbard was saying, and express your support. Don't just come out to tell them what they're doing wrong. Come out and support that which you support. And it will give them the courage, because they're politicians. They want to please everybody and be reelected. I'm not trying to be elected to anything. So I can be more bold and say what I want to say. And I'm paying the cost, of making the sacrifice. Now, I could have dreamed about the new Black Wall Street, but unless I went in my pocket against my wife's will and took the risk on putting this together, you wouldn't be sitting here today. And I'm hoping God don't let her be right on this one. Don't let her be right about this. This is going to work. I'm going to give it my best shot. And God's going to do the rest.
Greetings, my name is Molly. So nice being here. So, quick question. If we have 300 acres of developable land, I'll say that, is it possible at all that any of the other 100 acres could be used for agricultural purposes?
Very interesting question. I believe it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had the agricultural director for the state of Georgia here to talk about the state of Black farming. One of the things, again, going to the young people, so the short answer to your question is yes. The longer answer is, right now, people are learning to eat healthier, organic food, and get some of all of this fertilization out of the food that will help us live healthier lives, save our trips to the doctors because we are eating too much of the wrong stuff that has too many chemicals in it. So absolutely, we have some land. That land is too expensive to farm on, but I have some other spots. Next question.
Hi, good morning. My name is Yolanda Williams, and I'm here from Dallas and Los Angeles. I've got Intentional Talk Radio Network. My question to you, Mr. Allen, is do you have any plans to bring in out-of-towners, relocate here to Stonecrest, not to Atlanta, but to Stonecrest, to see and to actualize your vision?
Well, we're activating that plan all the time by the mere fact that we have built our social media team because all of you are, I have to explain to, see, I have a team, actually I used to say from 24 to 70, but actually it comes from the teenagers. They're about 14, 15 years old. Let me tell you what we're doing to bring people here. See, when you sow good seed, eventually it will come up. Some years ago, I invited Arabia Mountain High School to come and to stay at our private hotel and for an entire week to study entrepreneurism. And here, since we've opened this market, not the same students, because that would be 8 or 9 years ago, but the teachers were still there. And they came to Matt Hampton and said, I think there's something we can do to help this market. And these young people go to social media like a fish to water. You don't have to teach a fish to swim, they just start swimming. And so we have done all types of social media across this country to let people know about New Black Wall Street. So we've gone beyond just the regular website and all that thing of the nature. And so we're definitely pushing this as an innovative city. And it's happening, it's working. We have set as our goal, and one of the other things we wanted you to do for us is to have 1 million visitors here by the end of 2023. We are working on that goal. It looks a little scary, but we're not giving up. The same as I didn't give up when COVID came. We're going to keep working at it. And that's one of the things you asked, some of the things you could do. Tell more people about it. Word of mouth is still very strong. As our business owner said, they need your support to stay alive here. Spend the money like, we're never going to be able to, at this point, compete with Walmart in the best prices. But if you want the dollar to turn over in your community, you got to be there turning over that dollar and find a way to support our various businesses, not only at New Black Wall Street, but in the entire city of Stonecrest or wherever Black businesses. It's a consciousness, people, that what we're trying to do at this community meeting is to get you to become conscious that nobody is going to save us, from us, for us, but us. We have to be the ones that are going to invest in us. The reason there have been no developments of the New Black Wall Street in over 100 years, because these businesses are not bankable. I can borrow a dime. Go to the bank, what do you mean? How long have they been in business? Well, they got started, they got a pop-up. Oh, what are you talking about? We're not gonna give you a dime on that. Come back and see us in 3 years, and we will look at it. You see what I'm saying? So I had to say, what I'm asking you not to do as I say, do as I've done. I've invested, I've taken a great risk. I want you to take a risk according to your level to help our businesses, not only inside of Black Wall Street, but every opportunity you get to help someone bring business and turn over the dollar in our community. Please do that. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Allen, I commend your vision of standing thrust and the thrust to get young professionals. But my question is, there's a large group of retired senior citizens who have disposable income. Do you have a plan specifically for that group?
The question is an excellent question. I should have planned it myself to be asked. She says, she knows what I'm trying to do for the young people. Do I have anything for the senior citizens who have disposable income? The answer is, sure enough, yes, ma'am. But we just haven't gotten to that. I want to create an opportunity somewhere in the future where I offer different levels of investment into the ownership of New Black Wall Street. But since I try and pray very hard, Lord, don't let me be a scam artist. All entrepreneurs are risk takers. So I'm not God, I can't guarantee you anything, but I want it to be a reasonable risk. I wanted to get a little bit further down the road before I start offering, number one, an investment income opportunity. But I will put this out here. We have one opportunity. It doesn't have to be for seniors. It has someone who has a nest egg and wants something else to do. We have plans for a beauty shop, well, a barber shop, a beauty shop, and a nail salon. Now, if I really wanted to, I could get an Oriental group to come in here and do a nail salon. I'm not saying we won't ever do that, but where the opportunity is, the jazz club, some of you are familiar with the Pink Line Jazz Club. Okay, I created that club, built it out and everything, but I don't operate it. I went to some seasoned operators and they have the responsibility of running the day-to-day. I'm looking for a seasoned investment person that don't spend your last dime, but I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna cost you between $100,000 and $125,000 to build out that barbershop, beauty shop, and restaurant. But you don't have to do hair or do nails. You just have to be able and have enough energy and put together a group that will find people to do nails and do hair and rent out each chair per week. But I'm not going to be responsible for whether or not you have chairs there. You just simply be responsible. That would be your territory of the beauty shop, the barber shop, as well as the nail salon. But you're going to have a secure investment, and I don't want your last retirement dollars. If that's all you got, you need to keep it. All right? Does that kind of answer? Here you go.
My name is Sean. Actually, this is my first time ever walking in this building. Actually, with Angela Walton with Gina, and I'm a marketing consultant. So I came to get some information to put out to the community that we serve about small business. And I love small town growth. This is actually one of my dreams, and I've been looking for a small town. I don't know if this is it, but I find this to be remarkable. And I love your attitude about, let's just do it. Like, let's not talk about the past, let's just do it. I love it. One of the sectors I work with a lot is Black tech, right? So I work with a lot of Black tech entrepreneurs, and I think in Atlanta or Georgia itself, there's no hub for them to live. One of the tech people I work with, she made $5 million in 1 year. We worked together to do that. And Serena Williams was her final investment, and she lives here. So, I'm one of these people that I'm talking to people I know on the phone as you're talking about this.
That's what I mean by young people. That's how they do it. They have several things going.
Yes.
May I ask you on that?
Yes.
I'm a little bit of a storyteller, so I'm going to try to make this short. One of the largest movie theaters is out in, it's not Sarah, it's not Tyler Perry, it's larger than Tyler Perry's, but anyway, the interesting thing about, okay, well, let me start at the part that you know. Everybody know Chick-fil-A, right? All right, Dan Cathy, he and his brother, and I think sister, own all of Chick-fil-A, okay? They have the studio out south of Atlanta here. Thriller, right. You got it, okay? So, used to be Pinewood Studios, okay? What they're doing at Thriller, I was out there a few months ago and had a chance to talk to Dan Cathy about this. Some of you heard when Kanye West was in town and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, Kanye West was brought out to Thriller for a while. And the reason they wanted Kanye West out there, and this is a backdoor way of answering your question, they wanted to use his popularity to build a creative community. And if you ever go out there, they have houses that are right next door to one another, and those things start, it's out in the middle of no place. Start at about $500,000 and go up to $1.5 million. They're not any sprawling with land and stuff we're used to seeing here. But it's a community not for tech people, but for creative people such as the Kanye West. And that's the concept, people who are in the movie industry. Excellent idea. I would love to take part of the development of the residential development and create a community of tech people, young tech people here. So please work with Matt Hampton, any connection as we're planning this, then we will put this in our overall plan as we show to the city and the rest of the people what we're planning on doing for such a community. Excellent idea. All right, last question, I think we're about done. Yes, sir.
This lady right here.
Okay, which one? Well,
Yeah. We'll do two
all
more.
right. I think he's done one. Go ahead.
It's not a question, I'm just saying, it is a question with a comment. One of the aspects of the social media that we were speaking about before, and you guys know how this social media grew. When I'm thinking about attracting people to Stonecrest as well as businesses to Stonecrest, people for the density, I'm often a little disappointed about how we see such a negativity sometimes on Stonecrest, but as Dr. Hunter was saying, you know, a small group isn't necessarily, and the other gentleman, a small group doesn't necessarily get involved in Stonecrest. I liked what I saw on listening to one of the city council meetings, how there were businesses actually from here in the Black Wall Street that came to the city council meeting and were talking about how they liked the new Black Wall Street and the benefit of having it here. I would love to see, along with just our residents of Stonecrest, some of the businesses from the Black Wall Street from time to time post on the social media sites about why they want to stay in Stonecrest, to have their business in Stonecrest, to bring that balance to what we're seeing on social media. Also a piece that you were speaking of in regards to the education, because there is a lot of miseducation about how economics works and how you bring certain businesses here or get certain things to happen. I see that the education is going to have to be in small bites and consistent and repetitive and almost starting now. So I'm hoping that you all can have sort of a communication specialist that can help develop that strategy around how to partner with the city. Because I did hear Mayor Cabo speak about how there's going to need to be maybe some town halls or something to, you know, talk about what's going to need to be done to make certain things happen. To plan that out well, because as my mind was thinking here, I was thinking about maybe some of these developers who have done this in the past and maybe have a relationship where if they're willing to come speak and say, why is
Right.
this is what
May I address what you're basically saying? I want to repeat, see, I've been at what I've been doing a long time. A lot of it before you all, but I've learned a few things along the way. And one of the things I'm going to repeat, because I want you to hear it. Envy and jealousy is stronger than racism. And you're not going to get rid of envy and jealousy as long as you have human beings. That's the first thing you need to recognize. So you don't spend a lot of your time trying to chase down foolishness. What you spend your time as the Optimist Creed is on the improvement of yourself. So we're going to use our social media to outlast and outshine and outdo the people who just talking to hear themselves talking and being envy and jealous because they ain't got nothing to show for what they're doing. We're just going to keep on doing what we do to the best that we're able to do it. That's our approach. Okay? And I would advise you as a young person, again, you all look up the Optimist Creed. It says, spend so much time on the improvement of yourself that you have no time or little or no time to criticize others. Okay? Now, they wrong, but I'm not spending my time, you know, trying to chase that down. We're gonna have our own positive information going out to people, to young people your age. We're gonna do emails to older people of my generation that don't surf the net. We're gonna do all types of positive, we're gonna continue to have these town meetings and continue to try to re-educate people by may the work that we're doing speak for us. And if that work doesn't speak for you, ain't no sense you trying to tell nobody nothing, because that's what we used to hearing, a whole lot of nonsense. I have had so many people that I'm done to walk in this building and say, oh, this was not what I was told that it was. Well, if you had been here before, you would know they would have told you something. Oh, I thought it was going to look like this. One guy said, oh, I thought it was going to look like a warehouse. Oh, they told me it was just a flea market. Well, you know what my comment was to that? If it's going to be a flea market, it's going to be a bookend flea market. All right, I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Allen, we appreciate it. I think there was one more comment in the back that we were gonna get in. As you were saying, I'm about to start my first LLC, and should I budget in a accounting firm? Should I budget in an accounting firm when I start investing? Because although I think I was very good at accounting, should I?
After the meeting, I'll talk to you about that.
Yeah, let's get the young lady in the back. Okay. And then we're gonna finish out. Also, before she says that, I want to, it's very, very important. We invite every city council person, every commissioner, every elected official to these conversations. And I want to recognize that we do have one of our council members here, Alicia Washington. I think it's very important that you understand who's here in the room when we talk about certain things. And I'll just leave that there. So thank you for being here, Councilwoman. Okay, now your question, ma'am, and that'll be our last question for the day.
Hello, my name is Elaine Griggs.
Tennessee.
Hello, my name is Elaine Griggs, and Mr. Allen, I have a question for you. Is there a suggestion that you or anyone else in this room may have that you spoke of us pretty much spending our dollars here in the Stonecrest community? What can we do as a community to get some of these stores to update themselves, to get some of these stores to keep inventory? Because some of the reasons we leave this community and go elsewhere is because the selection is greater. We have, for example, I've gone into Marshall's, the sign Latonia has been missing letters for 3 years, 4 years. So a lot of the stores are just, slim pickings as far as inventory. The restaurants are just outdated.
Well, let me start with New Black Wall Street. One of the greatest things I had to ponder as we opened the New Black Wall Street, we had almost 2,000 applicants. Now remember, this is around 2020, when the money was flowing from the government and all these people had this PPP money and what have you. So they had all this ideas and some money from the government to go with them that wanted to start operations here. I had to ponder, do I do a credit check? Do I do a background check before allowing these stores to come in here? And I closed my eyes and got rid of the basic business principles and said, I want to have some mercy, the same as someone had me some mercy on me when I was starting my business. I'm not going to do credit checks. I'm not going to do background checks because I know that most of the people would fail them. And what I mean by credit checks, I don't mean just what their score is. I'm not going to check to see if they have enough sustainability money to furnish all of their stores the way I would like them furnished. I'm just gonna give them an opportunity to survive or not survive. Now, that is not the way that business is normally done. And that's why they are not bankable and I can't borrow no money on them. If I had said, well, I'm gonna have so many regional, national stores in here, you follow me, where I could then go and do that. So that's one of the problems. That problem of lack of finance is still very pervasive in our community. Then secondly, you are right, the selection of opportunities within our stores and sometimes even within our major stores within this community is not going to be the same as in other broader communities. Well, again, I want you all to understand, when I was buying some different stuff, I used to be a fan of home goods. The home goods that was here for a few years was totally different than the Buckhead home goods store. But there's a reason why. And we didn't buy a lot of the high-end stuff that they have in the Buckhead store or they have in the Perimeter Mall store. So they have to bring, I'm talking about a professional store, bring the level of merchandise down to the community. And even with doing that, we weren't spending enough money for them to stay here. Stores don't up and leave cause you black. That's one thing. Listen, you spending money now, they're gonna stay. But there was not enough development of homes and new homes being built here in this area to sustain that store. So this is what I'm saying when I say support our businesses. Not all of our businesses are selling merchandise that you necessarily need to buy every day. We know that. Some of them don't have the wherewithal to have all the merchandise they need. But as I said, I was speaking to my niece some years ago and I was saying, well, you know, they ought to be doing this and they ought to be doing that and they ought to be doing this. And she looked at me and says, Uncle, that's true, but I want some grace and some mercy. So I'm saying to you, have some grace and some mercy to come and work with our businesses, even though they are not where they ought to be. I have to remember back, when I first started in business, I had these old raggedy buses picking up preschool children and they used to break down and those parents would wear my behind out at every meeting. I'm like, Lord, have mercy, am I gonna survive this? But suppose I had quit. I kept on keeping on even with my raggedy buses. So I'm doing a little bit better now. So that's what I would say to you.
God is good.
God is good, have some grace, have some mercy.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Allen, and thank all of you all for your participation, for your concern, for getting up out of the bed and braving this frigid weather to come here and join us. And to your point, we will continue to have these town halls. We will continue to have the conversation on economics. And we are doing some of that training for entrepreneurs right now through our NAVGA program. But I hear where you're coming from, is that our community also needs to continue to hear from experts on some of the fundamental economics that are necessary to advance our community. So we are committed to that, and we certainly want to work with you. The other thing that we want to do is on our 1 million challenge, we want to also continuously update the community. In our first 3 months, we will see about 50,000 people come through our doors, which is a far cry. It's got us at about 25% of where we got to be if we continue with this trend for the year. But we are very excited about our spring calendar. We're very excited about our summer calendar. So we will be having great festivals, outdoor, indoor type of activities all spring and summer. We're getting ready to start our farmers market. So again, when you see things happening at the New Black Wall Street Market on social media, when you see us going forward with the positive, you know, understand it's important for you to grab your girlfriend, grab your husband, grab your friend, and come on down and join us and be a part of all those activations, because that's ultimately how we make this market work. And so again, if you have this burning desire and you want to hold up one of these pillars with us, please see me afterwards, because I'm the person that can kind of help weave you into our system. We're looking for ambassadors to bring people here for our 1 million challenge. We're looking for people who want to work on public safety or real estate development. There are ways and opportunities for you to work with us, and I'm the person that can kind of help you with that. Or if it's not me, I can help get you to the right person. So again, thank you all for coming. We hear you, we recognize you, and again, we're going to continue to press forward and take action to build Stonecrest as a model city for the country and internationally. Thank you all so much for now this week.
And please support our merchants, stop at our businesses. Thank you again for coming out and being a part of this, the new Black Wall Street Market. We invite you to go to our government financing workshop at the other end of our building on Bourbon Street in front of our Greenwood stage. NAVGA is having a government contracting workshop right now at the other end of our building here in front of our main stage. So if you walk out and walk to the end of any street, you'll end up on Bourbon. If you have any questions about that, please ask me.
Okay, he's just real big in tech in Atlanta. He runs Collab Capital, and then he also is a movement. So anyway, let's look up.
Once again, welcome to the new Black Wall Street, and once again, NAVGA is having a workshop on business finance in front of the Greenwood stage at the other end of Bourbon Street, here at the new Black Wall Street. Thank you so much for joining us here as a part of our town hall effort to redefine and redirect the city of Stonecrest.
It's not here next week.
Government contracting is at the other end of the building. It's starting in about 30 minutes. It hasn't started yet. Yes, what time is it? It's 1 o'clock? 10 to 12? Yes, so it's starting 10 minutes. Here's the simplest thing you do. Go out, go to the end of any street, go right. When you get down to the state,